Good evening. This is Amy Landolt from North Shore Acupuncture Center, and this is part of the series called Hard Conversations, and it's unscripted, authentic, real conversation. This one is truly unscripted because we don't have a topic. At least in the past, I had a word or two that I know that we talk about. I guess whiteness is a word I know we're probably going to talk about today. If you missed the previous videos, I'm on with Queen Wheeler, who is a good friend of mine and a soul coach. And she and I had, I think it was probably 3 weeks ago almost by now,
At
or two
least.
and a half weeks ago. We had, I think, a series of maybe 7 conversations
7.
about race. And then she followed that up with 2 more series with Leah and with Christy. And tonight she's back with me. And hello. Thanks
Hey,
for joining. Yes, so thanks, Queen. It's nice to have you back. And we already have some people checking in. So thank you for checking in.
yes, yes. I love seeing people hop on right away. Because right away that lets us know that we're not just talking in an echo chamber with ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you tonight, Amy.
It's nice to have you back. It's been a while. Now I'm nervous again, like the first
Right.
time.
Yeah, well, it's nerve-wracking to do it this way anyway, because you show up with nothing. But considering tonight we literally showed up with no agenda at all, not even a word, nothing. And I got on and said, "Hey, what are we talking about?" And it's like, "Oh, we didn't even say what we were talking about, huh?" So first, I want to say thank you to everybody on your platform, as well as who joined through Leah and who joined through Christy. Thank you for joining in on the conversation. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for your comments. Thank you to all of those who have signed up for the program. I'm super excited about that because I'm telling you, it's good. And I'm not even saying that from the stance of, oh, I wanted to sell, so hey, it's good. No, I'm saying that because as I created, right, as it is being created through me, I should say, as it's being created through me, honey, I am like on fire myself when I see some of the stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, right? And not only oh my goodness, but then I have to be open to learning it myself at a deeper level. And so I'm excited to go through that process with all of the women who have signed up. And if you have not signed up yet, please do today, right now, tonight, after you watch this video, during the time you watch this video, but sign up because it is shaping up to be a wonderful group. And I'm telling you, we're going to go in, we're going to go deep. It's going to be intense, but not intense, the kind of intense that makes you like not want to do it. The kind of intense that says, oh, yes. Like a good, like when when your back is itching and you finally find a spot on the wall, the edge of the wall to like rub up against, and it's like, oh, it's that kind of, it's that kind of intense, the scratch is intense, and you just, rub it, it's that kind of intense. So I'm telling you, come on in and sign up because you do not want to miss this experience.
And
And
I put the link in the comments as
you.
well as in the initial invite.
Yes.
We also have a first timer on tonight as well. So, Lasan, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but thank you for joining us.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Always nice to have new ears on and new eyes looking. Because of course we all feed into this. That's the thing that I want y'all to know too, is that when you watch these videos, especially live, you're feeding into the energy of the video. So when you put your comments in there and you put your questions in there, and that just pulls more out of us, more out of the conversation, it makes it richer, it enriches. And so please put in your comments, put in your questions, put in your statements, what have you, and join in the conversation, because this is definitely a timely and worthy conversation to be going on right now in this climate. So what you want to talk about, Amy?
I don't know.
You over this last couple weeks?
What came up for me? Well, I think there was something that recently I've just noticed, and maybe we can talk about it live. But yesterday, I saw that George Zimmerman auctioned off the gun that he used to murder Trayvon. And that was just horrifying to me. So one of the books Queen talks about a lot is Dr. DeGruy, post-traumatic slave syndrome. And I've been reading that, and I was aware of the lynchings. What I wasn't aware, I was even aware that people would go, like it was a family event and it would be a picnic. What I wasn't aware, and all of that obviously is horrific enough on its own, but that people would take souvenirs, like cut off souvenirs and things like that. And so it just made it clear to me that we're still in the same place. That's what that gun is. He signs autographs on Skittles bags. It's exactly the same as taking souvenirs of the lynchings back in that time. And so that really threw me. But then I was questioning, why. One of the things that I notice is sometimes it's easier, or you get drawn to those real overt racist things. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if it's just another form of distraction, to say, no, it's those people over there, not me, to not have to look at myself and how I am a part of supporting systemic racism. It gives you a way to distract, I guess.
Right. Well, I think first, let me ask you a question. When you saw that, what part of that bothered you the most? Like, what was it? What was the first impact?
Of him selling the gun? Well, I think my first reaction was thinking of his mother, Trayvon's mother. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. And then the fact that he's selling it to people and autographing, it means it's a broader issue. It's not like there's no one buying it. So it just reinforced how bad it is and that there's a market for things like this.
Did it surprise you, or was it something? Did it surprise you? What was the?
I guess I kind of was like, how are we all sleeping? And like, it made me nauseous. I texted a bunch of friends and I was like, well, now none of us are going to sleep tonight, right? Like, how can you sleep knowing something that horrific is going on? I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but you shouldn't be able to profit from murdering someone.
You just said a lot in just those two statements. First, you said, how will we sleep tonight knowing that that's going on? And so my question then would be, how do you think you've slept
every night, right?
All of this time? How do you think your ancestors slept? Right? Because they slept very well, got good night's rest, right? So what do you think it is that allows you to sleep? Because that's always going on.
Disconnecting.
Yeah.
Disconnecting. not paying attention.
The other thing you said is you shouldn't be able to profit off of something like that. That by itself, girl, we could unpack that for days. Just that statement. You shouldn't be able to profit off of something like that. The something like that, I think, is the interesting part of that sentence. The something like that. How many things fall up under the something like that? You know what I mean? Like for real. Like, let's try to answer that. What things fall under the something like that?
That you shouldn't be able to profit off of. Things like putting people into prison for things they didn't do, or also unfairly targeting certain groups of people to put into prison and then profit off of their work when they're there. Certainly murder. You shouldn't be able to kill people and then profit off of that, which is what our country was built on. I understand.
And even with the when you talk about you shouldn't be able to profit, you put people in jail if they haven't done anything and profit off of it. I would go a step further and say you shouldn't be able to profit off of jail. You shouldn't be able to profit off of prison. That's a conflict of interest, right? It's a conflict of interest to profit off of things such as imprisonment, profit off of things such as crime, profit off of things such as war.
Yeah.
And we know that a large of the money that come in, a large part of the profit is through war and the penal system. That's where the profit is being made. War, the penal system, and I can't even call it. I know what they want us to call it is healthcare, but we know that's not what it is.
So it's sickness care.
Yeah, sickness care. Those are the things that we profit off of, and then if we push back on it, what amazes me is just like this whole concept of racism and the pushback on that, the pushback on equality. So if we push back on things like the penal system, the illness care system, and war, then a large amount of us Americans will say, "Oh, well, you must be a socialist. You want socialism." Why? Because I say that you shouldn't be able to profit off of the suffering of others. Like, that shouldn't be the base of how you make your money. This is based off of making people sick so that you can heal them, and creating laws to get people caught up so that you can penalize them, and then also creating wars that you can fight, like, so that you can make a profit. But again, that's the thing about racism. And I try to be careful even when I'm talking about it in these broad terms, because the truth is, over all of these talks, I have yet to really go into what racism is, because it's just not enough time and space to do so in the way that I would want to, right? And that's why I got the program to hold it in that container, right? Otherwise, it would just take a long time. One of the things that I try to do is be responsible with the information that I have, and responsible with the with what I say, so much so that if I'm speaking about something, to allow enough time for those who hear it to understand it versus leaving them in the wind with just enough information to be dangerous, or just enough information to go and beat somebody over the head with it, or to hurt themselves or harm themselves or take it wrong and misapply it and all of that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why I think, well, why I know that being inside of this program for 31 days allows you enough time and space to sort all those things out and make sure that we can wrap it up with a bow, and that you're walking out with more clarity versus confusion, more direction versus distraction, a more understanding of self, as well as, because you understand self, you understand what you once called the other, right? And that's one of the important things that will come out of the program. And so I'm excited to have, and I'm a big believer that one of the groups that will be integral in change is the white woman. All right. So they're the perfect ones to be in such a program. And so I'm really hoping that even more. And again, thank you to all of you who have signed up. We're going to have a nice group, man. But we do have a room for a few more people. So if you are under the sound of our voices at any time, whether it's now live or you're watching the replay, please go and sign up. We are starting on July 1st. July 1st, there is something, something that you must do on July 1st. So there is work. Like, we start July 1st working. The first live call will be July 2nd, which is Thursday, because that's Thursdays will be the day that we get on our group call. So jump in now, because there is some pre-work that needs to be done. And did you do your pre-work, Amy?
Well, yeah, because most of it are easy for me. That's a lot of pre-work for other people, though.
Listen, I just because you were sitting there all tense looking at me, I was like, let me get her right here.
I
put her on the spot right here
again.
Huh?
I haven't watched the documentary for a couple of years. I think maybe it was a year ago, so I have to watch that again.
Yeah. And I will say, if you don't on that one, you have some time. But the setup, that is important. That's the most important thing. So I know that those of you who haven't signed up don't know what I'm talking about. So sign up, then you'll know what I'm talking about, and then you can do it. And you can do it and prep. So yeah, do it. Give yourself a couple days to prep. And we only got a couple days, because we start Wednesday. So we only have a few days, and you need at least a couple days, I would say, would be helpful. Now, if you don't sign up till on the 1st, that's cool too. If you have to, like, if you just seeing this video on the 1st, please still sign up. Hopefully we'll have room, but please, still sign up. However, well, hopefully we won't have room. Actually, I hope we're packed.
It could be on the list for the next one.
Yeah, and we'll put you on the list for the next one. And if I have enough people, I'll actually run 2 of them consecutively, probably. So yeah, just come on in, sign up. It will be well worth it. I'm telling you, the first week is going to be worth it by itself, even if you didn't get the other 3 for 3.5 weeks. The first week by itself will be life-changing for you. So, because we're going to get into some deep stuff, and I think that it will shift. I do believe, and that's what's going to be interesting to me, to see the shift, right? I think it's going to shift the way the ladies in the group think. Like, immediately, we're gonna learn some stuff that's gonna open our eyes to even more, right? The reason why these women are coming and signing up is because they've waken up to this thing called racism. Some of them were shaken awake. Some of them felt like they were punched in the gut when they saw the video of George Floyd. Some were shaken awake in 2016 and kind of got laxed again, and then was shaken back awake again this year. But all of them have felt a call to change, a call that something has to change, something has to shift. And I'm raising my hand and say, shift me first so that I can be a part of the national shift, of the cultural shift. And so signing up that way. So if you are someone who has been awakened in that way, this is the program for you. So sign up. It's in the comments, as well as, where did you say else it was, Amy?
In the invitation for this discussion.
Okay, as well as in the invitation for the discussion. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me at queen@queenwheeler.com. Queen@queenwheeler.com. Reach out to me. Ask whatever question you have, whatever concern you have. Don't sit there quiet and let it pass you by. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm excited about with the program is when you and I were talking, we spent time trying to define whiteness. And we talked about how it's hard for us as white people to define whiteness, because it's like having a fish describe water. It's a little bit easier for you because you've had to figure it out to live and survive and protect your family. But you've got, you're the fish too, still, like someone and you're swimming through the water. And so one of the things I think, just from the last couple of weeks looking into that more, I think I've thought more about the discussion we had, or you had with someone else, about part of whiteness is having cut off from our spirit and our bodies, because we had to be able to do the horrible things that were done. Mm-hmm. And so I think we've connected that to, that's why appropriation happens, because we have this hole that we're trying to fill. Mm-hmm. And other cultures haven't done that. So this type of a program, I think, is appealing because it takes into account the soul and the body.
Oh yeah.
As part. Versus doing, there's a lot of great programs, but some of them are more, my perspective, are more analytically based, like teaching facts, mm-hmm. Versus addressing that gaping hole.
Yeah. Well, so you will be learning some facts. However, I know you remember we've talked about it before, and I've said it many times, not as eloquently as Harry has, but
Harry Pickens, if you guys don't know, he's a great person to follow on Facebook as well.
Yes, how he describes it. However, one of the things that people may have heard me say, and I say often, is that I am a very spiritual person. We all are spirit, right? Very spiritual person. And I'm looking spirits up here, right? And then we're down here, living in this earthly realm, in the physical realm. And part of the problem is when we disconnect those two. When we can't bring this up here down into this realm and anchor ourselves here. And so I find that when we're dealing and talking about racism, anything around race, that's often a severed tie right there, right? Because you're up here or you're down here, but you can't be connected to both, right? Or anything in between, because there's some in between there, because there are many layers, right? So the ability to stay connected all the way, so that, and now I'll go into another philosophy that I have about the macro and the micro, right? Because when I'm working with my clients, I have to know when to pull them up into the macro so that they can get a bird's eye view and get a certain type of understanding of a thing, whatever it is they're dealing with, so that we can determine one where it came from, who it belongs to, right? Who it belongs to. And is it mine, or is it something that I have taken ownership of purposely, right? Now there are some things you take ownership of, and it may not be purposely. And that we work at releasing if it is not yours to have. But there are some things that are yours to have through ownership, not because it's yours personally, not because you actually went through it or what have you, but because you have agreed to step in and be in the gap on behalf of the whole to heal the thing, right? So understanding what is yours to heal personally, because it's from your personal experience and there's some things you need to work out, versus what is it that you are the person who stands in the gap, the volunteer that says, here am I, use me. Mm-hmm. And you take it on, you take ownership of it so that you can help heal it for the whole, whether it be for your lineage, whether it be for your community, whether it be for your society, or whether it be for the world. There are many layers to all of this stuff, right? So to be able to go up into the macro and look at it from that way. And once you get that, now we can come on down into the micro, into the body, into this experience, and say, okay, now how do I use this experience? Right? How do I use this experience to bring all of that to fruition? How do I use this experience to move forward in what I now know? And so that's what we will be doing. So the first week, we're going to pull up. And then by the time we get to the fourth week, we're going to come all the way down, and we're going to anchor into this experience, but in a new way, right? In a way in which we move forward with focus, with destiny. Okay. And I'm using the word destiny, not in the white myth way. Right? Not in the white myth way. We're not going to be in the white myth. We're going to bust all them white myths up. But we can move forward with focus and strategy. And what have we come here to do? Like, what part do we play? And so, again, y'all, come on in, because it's time, especially if you're watching this. If you've watched these conversations, that tells me that it is time for you, because not many people can sit and listen to me talk. That takes a special kind of person. That takes a special kind of blessedness upon you to be able to listen to me. Because you would have been to cut me off real quick, be like, oh, girl, child, please. I don't know what she's talking about. Let me go watch a video. Let me go listen to yeah. So that's funny, but it's true. And I know it's true. And now I'm good with it. It used to bother me, but now I'm good with it. But I used to be like, but I want to be people friend. I want to be one that everybody. Yeah. Now I just realize, nah, no, that ain't how this works. So if you are listening to us and you've been able to handle and listen and really connect to my voice and to these videos, the program is for you. I can guarantee you will fit right in. The program is for you. And the truth is, if you don't fit in, I'll be the first to ask you to leave. So it's okay. Okay. Because I will be the first to say, and this is the thing, no shade. No shade. Because what I don't want is for you to be misplaced. Right? You don't need to be misplaced anywhere in your life. You need to know your place, right? Your true place, where you can be all of you, the best of you, in a way that brings forth what you came here to bring. So if we find that that is not your true place, I will be with grace, right? With no shade, no judgment, release you so that you can go and find your true place, because that's what's most important, is that you go and find your true place so that you can get to work, because we need everybody hands on deck. So if your place ain't with me, I'll be more than happy to even, help you find one. I probably won't go that far because I'm busy, but but I might give you a couple referrals, you know. But yeah, if my voice resonates with you, then you're the one. It's for you. It's for you. So just sign up. And again, if you have questions or concerns or things that you need to talk out, to see if this, if you can join in, then email me. Email me. Okay, that was it. That was my commercial. That was my commercial.
So what else do you want to talk about?
Well, that what you said about how can we sleep tonight knowing that, and then you think about all the good sleep that goes on in this country every single night. He shouldn't be able to profit off of that. And then you think of how many people are profiting off of such things, constantly not being held accountable for their acts and profiting off of it, versus those who are held to not only are they held accountable, but to the extreme, and everything's taken away from them. That's what those are the side effects of racism, right? Those are the side. So one man can go into a store and literally shoplift or pass a fake bill or a bounce check, whereas George Floyd paid for that with his life, where another person
Allegedly.
Right.
I've heard it was a valid $20 bill.
Yeah.
Which even it doesn't matter. It was wrong regardless, but
yeah. But even if that was his worst offense. Right. The truth is, it's not a life or death offense. Even if he had, how many men, boys have you seen kill, literally murder people and get treated
and get water or Burger King or
get treated kindly? Treated kindly. No aggression whatsoever. None. No aggression. No yelling. No guns put. Nothing. No aggression whatsoever. Get treated kindly.
Yeah.
And they've murdered not one person, but several people. Yet, even if you believed whatever you were told about a Black man, whether it be that they trespassed or that they stole something or what have you, it becomes a death sentence. You are able to be jury, judge, and executioner all within a matter of 10 minutes. And then you go into the court system and the court system uphold it and say, yeah, you can. Right? Yeah, you can. And so because of that, that's what I hope people aren't able to sleep about, is that such a thing as that goes on in this country day in and day out. That goes on in this country, that someone can be judge, jury, and executioner within 5 minutes and nothing happens. Because today, It's George Floyd. Tomorrow, it may be your child. It may be your brother. It may be your cousin, right? It may be somebody that you know. It's whenever you or ordain or rubber stamp or support or what have you, that whether it be in ignorance or being passive about it, being quiet about it, or just having no opinion on it, or deflecting, whatever, right? Anytime we do that, then we're encouraging it. And we know that because we've seen how it has escalated over the years. Every time this happens in this country and people are put on trial and nothing happens, it escalates. We hear it more and more and more. And the more people are put on trial and nothing happens, the value of the Black life goes down every single time. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't think it could get any worse, but it seems that it has. I don't know if you saw, and I didn't even read it all, but I don't know if you saw right here in North Carolina, in Wilmington, the police officers that got fired.
Yes.
Because they their boss was listening in on them talking in their car, and they were talking about killing Black people, and couldn't wait to open fire and all of that. 2 police officers. Of course, they're the good ones. Three police officers. And of course, they're the good ones. Right? They're the good police officers. They're the ones that before that moment, when that tape was revealed, they are the good police officers everybody was talking about.
Yeah.
Before they heard them. And if they had not been recorded, they would have continued to be the good police officers.
Right.
Right. And so I hope that all of those who use that as the excuse of, oh, well, police officers are good, all police officers aren't bad. Well, you tell me how. And wait, not only were they the good police officers until we discovered that they were recorded saying these things, but they're probably the good police officers that sit right next to you in church, that they're on that board with you, that your kids play with their kids, that you know their wife, and they're such a good family. Oh, they're so sweet, right? They're the same ones that you were just saying that about. So I'm bringing that up to say this. For all who want to deflect and to distract by talking about, oh, but there's good police officers. Listen, we barely know our own hearts, but we're quick to pretend to know the hearts of another. So while you're vouching, I don't even care if it's your husband, because do you think that those women who married to those men aren't out bragging about their husbands being police officers and wondering today what the hell just happened? Right?
Yeah.
How could he be saying that at work, even though they probably didn't heard him slip up and say something at home and they just laughed it off or what have you, you know? But we barely know our own hearts, but we are so quick to deify other human beings as if we know their heart, just because of the vocation that they hold. And I don't care what we talking about right now. I don't care if we talking about a priest, because how many people talking about they deify the priest and say because of his vocation, he's a man of God and he's a priest, a pastor, until the day we find out what they did to the little boys, or till the day that we find out what they did to the women, or what they did to the, right? Until that day, they're the salt of the earth, right? Whether we're talking about police officers, same deal, right? Whether we're talking about teachers, same deal. Whether we're talking about judges, lawyers, all of these. But guess this is the thing, Amy. it might not seem like a big deal because you'd say it's one off. Oh, well, there's bad people everywhere or what have you. Even though these were the people that you were swearing up and down, you knew their heart and they're good and all of that. Your wanting and deciding, being so decisive about that is causing our Black and brown children to be mistreated, to be murdered, to have all kinds of atrocities happen to them because we have to wait until the heart is shown to you and you believe it. Because
Well,
when we
and the second piece, when we were talking before, we talked about the fact that racism is systemic. So even if we had just good people, it's built into the system.
Mhm.
And a bad process will defeat good people every time. So even without that, like,
yeah,
even if we had some magical way to like do a wand over a person and say, oh, this is one of the good ones,
yeah.
putting them in that process, it's still not safe.
And that's the thing. Listen, we know ourselves. You know, at least I hope that we know ourselves. We know ourselves at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we know about ourselves is we can be wonderful people until you put us in a certain time and space under certain conditions. It will bring out the things in us that we otherwise manage. Right? So when you take somebody and you put them into a system that is created to oppress Black people, it's created to demean Black people, it's created to let Black people know that they are not equal and that they are not to be the recipients of white goodness, white profit, right? They're not to be the beneficiary of it. When you put a good person into that system, then it's going to bring out that part of them eventually. Like you can, and this is the thing, they go into it with the best of intentions, with the good parts of them, right? But you can only last so long before the system that brings out, that's built to bring out those parts of human behavior, before it wears you down. Because there's going to be a day when you come in tired.
Yeah.
There's going to be a day when you come in stressed out from financial issues at home, or marital problems at home, or family situations, or health issues. There's going to be a day that you come in when you're not in fighting mode, right? When you're not on top of your game, when you're down a little bit, when your energy is depleted, where you're a little sad. And that's when the system brings all of that out of you. That's when it has access and it brings all of that out of you. That's why I say there are some people that I'm like, oh my God, yeah, they needed to be God. There's other people who they still need to be God. However, I do have a little compassion for them because as we joke on here, you're just one decision away from being the next viral video. And you could tell that they're shocked themselves. They're like, oh my God, how the heck did that happen? Like what universe was I in when that happened? That was not me. I don't even know that person on the video, right? That's why, like over this last couple weeks, you keep seeing people come out with their apology video. You know, all these people have to go on the apology tour, which is the craziest, funniest thing though. They all go on the apology tour, like the lady who was talking about she gonna teach her grandkids how to be racist against Black people and how to hate. The next thing you know, you see her on video like this, reading the paper. Guys, for like she on her apology tour. Now, when she was on the video, she was crunk. She was like all out there, yes, I'm out. And I mean, she had so much energy about her. Then all of a sudden you see her I have no idea. I apologize. The apology tour. Like we should literally, hey, anybody out there, usually listen. I don't know if there's any creative people out there who's listening right now who have given us all the remixed videos where you put a compilation together of people with music and stuff. I would like to see one of all of the artists, meaning all the people who got caught on video, on the apology tour. Like I would love to see a compilation of the apology tour, and we act like they are all on the tour together. That would be, because every single time, what happens after they get fired? Because girl, social media ain't no joke. They will come after you and take your life. They will take your life. You won't be dead, but you will feel like it, because they will take your livelihood. They will take your anonymity. They will take all of it. And then you have to go on their apology tour. So let that be a lesson to y'all. Come to the program. You ain't the next one on the video.
Exactly. And Nate actually had a good point, my son, about the apologies. He said it's for the people that are just not overt, that you could see there's some humanity to them and they fucked up like we all could. It doesn't really make sense to be demanding an apology from them right away, because to truly apologize, you need time to sit with and understand what you did and why. And so to get to a point where you could have a true apology takes time.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we need that instant apology to appease
you need to go on like 90-day probation
media gods or whatever, but then come back with a real apology of like, I sat with this for some months. I did this work. And now I truly understand it and can give a real apology.
They need to go on probation. They need to have a probation. They have to go through the same thing that other people have to go through when they make a mistake. What Black people got to go through, because they be, they have to go to jail, then they get fines, and then they get they should have to go on some kind of 90-day probation. Of course, we just making that stuff up, but I think it's a good idea. And you're right, for them to come out with an apology immediately, that no work has been done at that point. However, I do believe that they got knocked into reality right quick.
Yeah.
They got knocked into reality. Now, I believe the apologies, I can't, claim to know what their heart is or whatever, but I think the apology is more so to try to preserve life, any life that's left for them. Because now I've got to be able to work. Like, how am I going to work? I'm trying to get my job back. Like, what am I supposed to do? And now I'm scared for my safety, because now I'm outed and everybody know, and they know my face and all of this kind of stuff. What if, I get some hostility? So I think that's about preservation, if anything, after the initial boom of it. But girl, that apology tour is real. It is real. I think they probably all got the same writer too. That's the thing. I bet somebody that made a listen, I'm getting ready to give y'all some business ideas right now, because somebody that made a profession out of that, right? Who they are a writer just for people who find themselves as the next viral video. They are PR for racist people who find themselves to be the next viral video.
And they all quote Maya Angelou: when you know better, you do better.
And you know what? In her estate, I'd start charging all of them. All of them. Reparations. They give me, charge all of them. But yes.
Well, she charged everyone that plagiarized her. If they just went after that.
Right.
Never ending money.
Right. Just like Martin Luther King Jr. I'm going to tell you, ain't nothing like some MLK loving white folks after a riot or after a shoot. No, not after a riot, after a shooting. Oh my God. Let a Black man be killed in the street, and I can guarantee you immediately your feed will fill up with a bunch of white folks posting Martin Luther King Jr. quotes.
Only a certain subset of them.
Yes.
Quotes,
Like,
not all.
like the one that says you can't get in love with hate or whatever, all of that kind of stuff. Be peaceful. In other words, please y'all don't act up, right? But all of a sudden there are all kinds of, and then they say it as if it's so virtuous, like, yes, I'm a peaceful person and I'm gonna come out and help the country by being, nah, we ain't falling for that no more. Y'all need to hang that one up, like, for real. Hang that one up, please. Especially if you haven't said anything about the murder, but you want to talk about being peaceful and loving to people who have been peaceful and loving. Like, who are you talking to? Like, exactly. Like, you're talking to the murdered person saying be peaceful and ridiculous. Like, those are ridiculous things. We could have had a whole session on the ridiculous things that white people say after a Black person is murdered. That would have been a good one. But we already at 51 minutes and we about to shut it down. So
and to your point, we don't want to point all of those out because that just teaches us how to mask the symptoms without getting rid of the racism inside of us. So it just makes us more dangerous.
Yeah, just make you more dangerous. Now you can go covert with it. Yeah. Now you special ops with it. Like,
right now, it's just easy to go out and see it all.
Right. And there are, now, if you really want to get into scary, we hear or we see certain things, whether they're posted or you catch it on video or what have you. What you're not seeing are all of the closed groups, right? Unless somebody, every now and then we'll get a little glimpse in it because somebody will infiltrate and then just blast them and take pictures of everybody's posts and put it out there. But it's alive and well. And I think you alluded to that even with your disgust around George Zimmerman being able to know that there is a market for it, because there are people out there who deems him as well as these cops as heroes for killing Black people, that they will forever be heroes in their sight and in their eyes. And that is a very disturbing realization. Right. A very disturbing realization. So I'm gonna need y'all 76% to come on and come through and do your work so that you can help change, be the change that you want to see. Like, seriously. I know that Gandhi said that, and we all use that like we use MLK. So I just did the same thing. But truly, and I just give it back to you because, it seems to work for you. So, but truly to do the work so that you can go out and work, because the work happens not only inside of you, but in your house, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your society. That's where the 76% is. And that's who we need to reach. That's who can stand up tomorrow and say, this gig is up, we're done, and things change. Now, I know y'all just heard me say that, and I'm going to go deeper into some things in this program. So just stick a pin in that and just take it loosely. I'll put it that way. Just take it loosely. But we will see what we're really fighting against. And I think that's what's important for us to really define the thing, to know what we're fighting it against, what we're standing against, so that we can stand against it in a strategic way. Right now, I think because we have so much misinformation or missing information, right? Misinformation is missing information. Then we're focused on things that are not what we think they are. So,
And we've seen the danger of that because it just continues to evolve. You've talked about how sneaky it is to go from slavery to the Black Codes to Jim Crow.
it mutates.
We just have to make sure we're not thinking we're solving it and it's just shifting to a new form.
That's why I'm telling you, the first week, that's the reason why the first week is probably going to be, the first week and a half is probably going to be intense. And I mean mentally intense, because we have to get to the bottom of it so that we don't keep going after the symptoms, so that we don't keep spinning out on just getting the sickness under control enough to where we hypnotize ourselves into believing that change has happened. And then we are jolted back awake once the climate gets like this again. But it never gets just like this. It always increases every time it comes back because it mutates. So just like any kind of bacteria, you think that you got it with that antibiotic that you use, but you didn't realize that the antibiotic was that it was a little resistant, just enough resistant to it to stay around, but not enough to make your symptoms go, like your symptoms went away. So you're thinking that it's done, and then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, you got a full-blown infection, and this time that medicine doesn't work at all because it's resistant to it altogether because it mutated. It learned the language of that medicine. It learned it changed itself to be able to adapt to that medicine and still thrive. And then they got to go search for a different antibiotic. We keep on doing that. And just like that happens in the body, that's, and the as a matter of fact, the medical field has told us over many years now that we are, as a country, as a world, in danger of because of antibiotics overuse, of us all becoming susceptible to it, and for there to be a strain that cannot be killed by our modern antibiotics because of the overuse. It's the same thing with racism. It just keeps mutating, and it gets stronger every time, and it takes more to fight. And we have to find something different, a different antibiotic. Well, we're running out of antibiotics, right? We're running out of antibiotics because we're half treating, we're over treating, under treating, all of that. And we're running out of antibiotics. So come on in. July 1st, we start. Sign up today. Do your pre-work. We're going to get into it, and we're going to make sure that we're dealing with the real thing, not a mutation of it, not a offshoot of it, but it's about cutting the head off of, right? Not cutting the pinky toe off, or the things that it can still operate, regrow something, or do without. No, we want to cut the head off. So come on in. Let's talk about it.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.